Hello and welcome back to this episode of the Peak Results Academy podcast. I'm your host, Rich Fournier, and in this episode, I sit down with Joel Elgee. Now, Joel is a top producer with Coldwell Banker, and in 2019, Joel ended the year with a whopping 140 completed transactions under his belt. And this year, in 2020, during a pandemic year, he's aiming for 200 deals. In this episode, he discusses his very unique approach to business that bucks the trend social media, lead gen companies, and paid advertising. He discusses the power of having an empathetic mindset over the traditional real estate razzle dazzle, and why he focuses on the end goal and trying to stay in gratitude every single day. He also discusses how fear works as a driving force in his particular business. He's also going to share details of his business, like the number of client touches, as well as his success prescription for new agents that 80% of people traditionally ignore. So here we go. Stay tuned.
Have you ever wondered why some people thrive in all areas of their life? Welcome to the Peak Results Academy podcast with your host, Rich Fournier. Each week, we interview industry experts who consistently dominate in the fields of health, business, and beyond. Our mission is to share their personal struggles and strategies so that you can create your own peak results.
Hi, everybody. Rich Fournier here for the Peak Results Academy podcast. I'm your host, and I'm super excited to have with us a superstar agent from Idaho. I can't even pronounce the city, Coeur d'Alene. Is that right?
Yep.
You did it. All right, fantastic. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. He's with Coldwell Banker. I mean, listen, almost 140 transactions last year. Congratulations on an amazing year last year in 2019.
Thank you.
Well, you know, this podcast is about really trying to figure out what creates a peak result in someone's business, life, and now in this particular episode, real estate. And you and I both know that creating that type of production and result is extremely difficult in the game of real estate. And so very few agents perform at this level. And what I'm trying to do in this podcast is to figure out what makes you different than 98% of all other real estate agents out there in the marketplace today. So if you're open to it, let's go deep.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So let's go back a little bit to the start of your journey. How long have you been in the game?
17 years.
17 years. You know, just on a side note, that number, you know, that 15 to 20 year mark is super common in the top 1%. Yeah.
I guess I could say that.
Most of the interviews are top 1% of agents in North America in terms of production. And that number, you know, it's usually no less than 15 to hit those type of peak numbers.
Yeah, I could see that. There's quite a bit of that creating the snowball.
Right. So when you guys started in the game, was it like, did you just knock it out of the park right away, or was it a grind?
So I was pretty young. I graduated from school at University of Washington, and parking cars, I met the broker owner of our company that I'm still with now. And we just talked real estate, and he actually plugged me in with a builder that he knew. So I just sold exclusively new construction, just fresh out of the gates. It was on like a commission plus bonuses deals, it was on salary plus bonuses deal. So it wasn't a direct effect of what you were selling necessarily, but just, you know, it was a good job in an industry I liked and was interested in, and we did pretty well there. But that was that would have been 2003, 2004, 2005. So right as the market was coming to its crescendo. And then I went independent of them in 2006, right as the market in our area was taking its 5-year downturn. But, you know, I think thankfully from not having, you know, made a killing or, you know, developing certain habits, you know, just because I was on this sales team, I didn't know any better. A lot of people, I think there was that mental, you know, twist when the market started going down. It messes with people, and I didn't know any of that. So I just had to go out and make a mortgage payment. And, so 5 years of downturn. And then, you know, since then, 2011, we saw the bottom of our market, and I just kind of through the worst years, I was having my best years, but, you know, that was kind of not because I'm a hero. It was just because I think I was out there hustling it and didn't know any better and was going to make stuff work. So
when you look today, so very few agents produce, over the 100 mark. Never mind 100. Most agents are not producing at the 50 or 40 or 30 deals a year mark. And when I ask this question, I mean it with all respect. What makes you so different, Joel?
I don't, honestly, the thing that makes me different is that if you've got a bunch of the people that do, high production, they have got much more packageable systems in many instances than what I do. I mean, I'm kind of old school in a lot of the methods with which I operate. It's not, I know these people, and it's like, and I applaud the way they do things, but it's like, yeah, I could, I'm going to do this in Puerto Rico or Florida or, the West Coast. Mine's a little more of that, just kind of down home, like, you work hard for people and you kind of put yourself in their shoes and you have vested, I just actually was interviewed by a guy for this magazine like a week ago. And the first time I've ever said this came out, but I think it kind of captured my feeling. But I think what people sense is that, me specifically and my team, us, we're here to win for you. I get a kick, the fun thing is winning for someone else. I like to win in general, but winning for somebody else is like, because they've already put that huge level of faith in you and trust in you. And then when you can take them and get them someplace that they feel like no one else would have been able to do, I mean, that's hugely rewarding. So I think that's really that. It's just a sense of buy-in. Like, I think it's making yourself a partner, and that's pretty cliche. So it's easy to just like, oh yeah, make yourself a partner. So I think it's more about just that empathetic mindset. I'm going to treat you, Rich, if you come to my market, like you're my, like I treat my cousin or my best friend, or, I'll take care of you better than me. I tell people that. I've had clients that are like, oh, you better invest in real estate. You're probably buying everything up. I said, no, I mean, yes, we invest in real estate, but I said, anytime a client of mine's interested in what I'm interested in, I'm out, because I'll go find another deal. And again, those are just, I think, little mild examples, but I just don't have a great ROI. I mean, I know guys that's like, yeah, I do it. I got a $20,000 Zillow bill, but guess what? I make, 4 times ROI on that, nothing. I don't have any of that. We don't, it's not the billboards. It's not, I've done TV commercials. My dad was in advertising. So, I mean, I think I have some refined stuff. And I think our marketing plan to specifically represent and get properties sold at their best price is very strong. And I think we represent that well in my marketing plan, but it's not a lot of razzle dazzle.
Well, do you find that, are you very consistent in your prospecting? I mean, how does that work for you? I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is where you hit delete on the podcast, Rich, because you're like, what am I doing wasting my time with this guy? No, I'm pretty bad at my good consistency in prospecting. And maybe that's exactly, if these are a bunch of agents out there or regular salespeople, like maybe they need to hear that too. I mean, I'm not bad. We definitely, we're probably 7 or 8, good solid contacts per year. That's not monthly. That's not weekly. That's per year. I mean, so, maybe you could even say that I'm underestimating, but I'm going to say 8 or 9, maybe 8 to 10. And we just started doing some things like, just 17 years in, slow, steady here. But just started doing some like client events. So rented out a movie theater, invited, all my former clients, okay, come on, movie on me. We did that. We did we did like a giveaway for, around the holidays for, like a holiday dessert deal. So, I mean, we've been doing some things like that, where people I think feel appreciated, but no, I mean, as far as like super solid, consistent prospecting, I mean, again, I'm not going to say we don't do any. I'm out hustling stuff all the time, but a lot more of it is the stuff that I think the results we've created for other people have won them over enough to stick their neck out there and to say, hey, you need somebody, this is your guy.
Got it. So when you went on your own, because 140 odd deals just doesn't come up, right? So if you can look back and say, like, do you have an amazing CRM system where everyone you've ever communicated with, you're connecting with on a daily basis or weekly basis, or?
Excel. So no, but the big tipper in my business was picking up that buyer's agent. So I actually lost a really good admin person, and I went to hire that person, and I try to be real methodical when I do that. And so I had, I probably, when I've replaced someone within my team, I have probably sat down on average with probably at least 7 or 8, maybe 9 people on average, and this time I think I'd sat down with 12 because the gal I lost was really good. She was moving to a bigger city to just get a life change. And and I'm kind of that, I call it a counterpuncher. Like if I'm, that sucks, so I want to come back better than it was. You take one on the chin, you come back with the flurry type of thing. So I ended up hiring, because I wanted to hire 2 people, because they were both so good that I liked them. So I hired one that didn't have any sales experience but wanted to get into sales but had good admin experience, and one that didn't have any admin experience but needed to be trained. And then so my future sales buyer's agent, helped train the new admin person, and then she went into sales. Anyway, you didn't need probably all that detail, but that was a big. I was plateauing in the 90 transactions a year ish, and then that really scooted us up. That was like where we bumped into the 120, 130, 140 deals a year, because but that was me plus one, and at that point we had one admin person. So there were 3 of us, 2 selling, 1 admin doing that. So I'm just trying to figure out where are these people coming from? Yeah. So I mean, and the other thing about it, Rich, is that it's not, these are transactions, but I'm not, you comb my numbers, you're not going to find, there's guys in my market where, oh yeah, look at this. I've stood on, stages. I've looked at other people on stages before, and it's like, oh yeah, they ran 300 lot sales through this guy. None of it's like that. But I've also sold. I've got a client right now coming back for another, wants to go buy another property because I, drove an hour to go meet with him to sell 3 $14,000 lots. So we'll do stuff like that. Now I'll do a minimum commission on that, but it's not, it's not end up being 40%, but we make sure but I don't like saying no to people either. I like, earning the relationship. Some of them are big whales. Some of them seem like smaller fishes. Some of them are smaller fishes that end up being bigger whales. But, but it's, where do these come from? It's just a matter that, I could just run through my last, 10 transactions, and most of them are referrals. Most of them are, I sold a property, I earned the trust of someone and they pass their name along to somebody. I also have past clients that are pretty consistent. So that CRM, what is CRM? CRM is there to do relationship management. So do I do a worse job at it than a lot of people? Yeah. But I guess my thing is, defending myself, is that, I think that I worked hard enough for people and they felt like I was an advocate for their interests strongly enough where I put myself into their memory, and then they remember me to call me the next time too, so yes, I stay in front of them. And there again, how many times in a year do you need to be reminded about somebody that, you have a positive feeling about? Yeah. If they don't hear from me in 5 years, I can't expect that they're going to pick up the phone and call me. But a lot of those people, it was like, yeah, that's my guy, that's my agent. And they'll, see your name around. So some of that, a little bit of that success can help, I think, ingrain you with people. They're like, oh yeah, look at that. That's my guy, and they're kind of like, rooting for you. So those are.
Got it. And when you look, so you don't do any Zillow, Trilla, Realtor.com?
I do, but the only thing I do is, so I have a Zillow bill that's like $300 and some a month. And it's just pretty much so I can get leads off of my own listings. Yeah, it's like, we close, I don't know how many, but it's probably under 3 deals, on on a zip code pickup, but we probably close 10 on, because they were calling on our leads. And so they're trying to get a hold of the agent, and I have to pay so that they can get a hold of their, the agent they're looking for, and so unfortunately that's the game, we play, but I have a solution to that too someday, Rich. But
yeah, we see that as well. I think Zillow they created a mousetrap where Realtor.com somewhere fell down.
Yeah.
And amalgamated all those MLS listings across the nation and did a better capture job, and then took advantage of the situation. And we see those things happening up here in our neck of the woods too. So I get that. Do you have any advice for an agent today who's entering the market? If you were to enter today, would you do the same style, or would you look at all these different ways to generate business?
I would look, because I still look. I mean, I take calls. Honestly, the first couple of times I thought, your admin person was selling me something, so it's like but I take those calls too, because it's like, hey, there's good ideas out there that I'm not saying that couldn't work. So, I absolutely would be open to things, but I do think that if I was telling somebody how to survive in this business, I would say, and again, you're talking about a guy I just described, kind of the nature, the nuts and the bolts of my business, in that it's kind of that old school but I would be sitting open houses. I would be like that. I would do the things that have been shown to work. I think that everybody wants a shortcut. That's essentially, when I've been asked for an interview in the past, or I've sat on top agent panels and, okay, what's the shortcut? And now, it's been like, I did these things maybe 13 years ago, and social media was just becoming a thing. And so it was like, everybody needs to get up there and tell you about social media. And then what that's going to do is have every agent, then they're going to be maximizing their social media. I mean, I don't do any of that. So I don't come and tell people to do that. I think I know friends that have, and in ways we have probably been able to gain business through social media, but that's not what I would tell people. I'd say sit an open house 2 times a week. I don't care if it's a weekend or not, for your first 18 months, and you're going to stick in this business. Because the other thing is 80% of people are not going to do what I just told you. They're not going to stick to it. They'll do it for 3 months, but you do that and you can stop doing it after a year. But I mean, you commit to it for 18 months and you're going to, and all it is, it's like a, military. It's just like an exercise in discipline. Anything you do, if you have discipline and you're not way off base, you're going to find results. And I think that I've been very undisciplined in much of my business, but I'm disciplined enough in enough categories to have success and to hold myself accountable and to work hard for people and to be available for people and, and think of their interests as my own. I mean, I think that's where I just have, that's my, the natural way I've been able to have the success I've had. And honestly, what I think more, if I have or would have done or need to do still, I think a better job of other business capturing, then I need to do, it's just going to change my business model more and more. And as I've gotten, longer in the years in this business, I realize, then that's really, creating a culture, teaching other agents to work with other people, because you also hit that max. If I'm trying to work with 220 people in a year, I can do it. 206 is my goal. I can do it, but I need, that's 2 buyers agents, me covering about 115 transactions. And then I'm also a part of, I meet and check in on, pretty much every one of those other deals. But about 206 to me has been my goal. I think maybe that could even be ramped down to, 190, 200 right now. But then again, I think you need to turn the chapter, and then, you're teaching that to kind of a culture of people. So I don't know.
Right. It's difficult, right? You haven't done it yet. So then you're trying to create something, looking forward, and then you trial and error. It seems to me that so far that it's the people that are full contact in the game, who like what they do, service their clients, but they got to chat with people. Mm-hmm. That's if they want to buy or sell a piece of property. And most agents are undercover agents. They don't talk to anyone. Yeah. Right. And it seems like you're still talking to people every single day.
Yeah, and I think that's important. Even there, I'm not as big of a rah-rah guy as I know I probably, should be or could be. But absolutely, and what, so here's my twist on that, Rich. Instead of because I'm just not the type of guy that go out and have coffee, but you can't leave the shop until you've passed out 5-year business cards. I mean, that's old school and that will get it done. Just not me. I'm just not that gregarious. I mean, I'm talking to you on this Zoom and I can already tell you're that guy. I mean, you're just the drop Rich, make sure there's as many people around him as you can. The more time they're going to spend, he's going to win people over, and that's that. And I'm a little bit more reserved when I'm in that public setting. And so I don't, but here's the twist. I have enough people coming out, oh, I heard you're in real estate, or, oh, you're in real estate, or, oh, what do you do? You're in real estate. So instead of just market's great, I try to always keep in mind, where is the market? Statistically what's going on in the market. And so for me, I probably have a lot less people that I'm going to interact with than Rich, because Rich is just better at that than me. But I might, I'm not saying I am, but I might be better at turning someone to think, ooh, if I have a real estate need, I might want to talk to that guy, because I've told them, like what you and I talked about, as far as, the market fluctuation. I've told them about, what rates are doing and where we think they're going. I've told them about, why we have suppressed inventory right now, but demand is still high. So now is a good time to sell, even though, intuitively you wouldn't think so, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So anyway, those are kind of probably my captures. So, it's a fine tune. I think overall, yes, you're correct. You need to get in front of people. Instead, for me, I'm okay, I'm not going to be the guy that's great about, talking to 122 people a week, but I'm going to talk to 8 or 9 people organically a week. And those 8 or 9 people, when they do ask me about real estate, most of the time, not every time, they're going to get a little bit different, a little more acute answer, because that's me, and so I'll dive into that detail and then have the chance to win them over that way instead of the volume piece. Well, I got 100. Yep, 3 of them are going to think of me. I might only get 9, but 3 of them might think of me.
Got it. Let me ask you a question, and this is maybe it gets a bit more personal. Do you ever fear that you're not going to make money in business and real estate anymore?
Oh yeah, fear is most of what. Fear is not most, I'll say, but fear is a lot of what drives me. Failure, and it's not so much money per se. I mean, I grew up and we were very. Missed house payment. My mom was a teacher, and was really good with money, but 3 kids. And, my dad owned an advertising agency, but, ended up, that company went bankrupt. So, we had missed payments and the bank was calling when I grew up. So I know, and so I'm very appreciative and cognizant of, financial struggles. I've kidded around, probably kidded too much. They're like, yeah, boy, yeah, I could be, things might be good today, but I could be BK before you know it. But I do, yes, absolutely. I mean, to me, more so than the specific monetary correlation, it's more like, fear of failure. Yes. Yeah. To answer, it was kind of a yes or no question. Yes. But again, for me, it's less about probably thinking about, am I going to make money in this business? I have faith in my business mind. I think that if you set me in, that was just one of those God-given skill sets. Okay, I think business is always clicked to me. So I feel like, I've told people this before, if I was out of this business, if someone took my license, I couldn't do this anymore. And I just had to find something to make some money. I'd go sell cars, and I wouldn't go rip people off. I would just sell cars, because that communication piece, I'm expressing to you why I think this could be a good fit given what you've told me, type of a thing. So anyway, yes, I do fear failure.
It's the reason why I asked the question is, I'm always trying to figure out what is the common thread with what is that thing. And so it's interesting where you're not focusing on, lead gen online, social media, capture pages, squeeze pages, CRM systems, video, email marketing campaigns, Facebook ads, bait and switch campaigns, and all those things. You're basically communicating with people and saying, hi, my name's, Joel. Have you thought about buying a piece of property occasionally? And then over time, you've been very consistent in that conversation and stayed the course?
Yeah, I think that's a good, balsamic reduction of what,
Hard to reduce this game because there are so many moving parts, and I'm trying.
Yes.
I'm trying.
I think that's a good. Generally, it's a good outline, and for me, again, I probably dive in the devil's in the details, and it's probably that once I get the chance, once you put me in, coach, and I tell people when I sit down with them, like, this is interviewing for a job. So when you hire me, then that's when you realize, like, oh, yes, I hired. That was the person, like that's who. So I go and earn it because I am so thankful. Part of that's fear of failing, like, oh, you helped me not fail. So I'm so thankful for their business. I think that they see that, and it is teachable and coachable simply by planting those seeds within other agents or other people in business to just say, why does your business world turn? Your business world turns because there's a customer there. That customer, especially in real estate, has placed an incredible amount of trust in you. When I've in other life experiences, when people have put an incredible amount of trust in you, that's a big, that's a big opportunity, in life. And so in business, when someone has given you the opportunity to and place their trust in you, and you can go and you show them how thankful you are for it, even though you'll make mistakes along the way, but they see that it's genuine when you say, oh, I am sorry and I apologize, and this is this, like, they understand that. They can see that you are vying for their interest. So I think on that larger scope, yeah, it is the things you described, but it's I think some zealousness about the idea that I was given this opportunity, that someone placed an incredible amount of trust in me, and I'm so thankful for that. I want to earn it. I never want to disappoint anyone. I want to exceed their expectations. And so, and again, for other agents, it doesn't have to be my way and you go like, oh, so extreme that way. But I think just keeping that in mind, for people, how difficult it is. And we've got people right in our brokerage having tremendous success with cold calling campaigns, but maybe they are able to have that, that gratitude and thankfulness because, like, man, I had to call 800 of you to get one of you who had me to your house. But I think it also might be difficult when you're doing those things too. It's just like, this was a numbers game. You were just someone that picked up the phone, and in 322 more, someone else is going to do the same thing, and I'm going to be in front of them. So I think that just understanding, the nature of the old school, customer service and the nature of your business is, without customers, your business dies.
Yeah, I believe that there's an energy, and there's a belief system that I see in all top producers. So we all have different mechanisms in how we're reaching out and communicating with people. But what is super interesting is there's a common thread underneath that, and it's the expectation of production and fully geared towards an outcome. Very focused on an outcome. And without that focus of an outcome, the world doesn't move for you. You're focused on an outcome. What's really interesting to me is that you've said it a number of times now, that there's a goal, like there's a number that you're aiming for, a number of people that you want to serve.
Mm-hmm.
And you're focusing in on that thing. And it's not just lead gen strategies or communication strategies. You're focused on an end goal, and you're just going to work.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is, yes, you're precisely correct. And even though, like, in my life, I'm a detailed person, I like things very organized and that sort of thing. It isn't this really clean, well, here's our, hey, how many of the 8 steps have we done today, everyone? Oh, you did your 8, you did your 8, you did your 8. It's not that clean. It's much more messy than that, which also probably makes it highly interesting after 17 years. But I think you're exactly right. Yeah, we have the goal and the outcome. And on some levels too, again, with that gratitude, with the trust that people have placed in you, I think it's also the idea that I also feel like it's an opportunity on their side because, hey, I'm going to do this to work hard on your behalf, to negotiate better than anyone else, could or would, use all my experience to your benefit, so that's also like on the sales side of things, when you're pitching yourself, like the belief, not just like, oh, I can't even say anything. Feel so lucky to be here. I mean, it's like, thanks for having me here. And now here's where I can, let me present to you this opportunity type of a thing. So
you value yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You have a faith and a belief in what you are going to do for someone.
Yeah.
In your mind, you think that they're crazy for not working with you.
Yes.
Like, what are you, crazy? Of course you should work with me. I'm going to save you from everyone else.
Yes.
Right?
And no one's going to think through it in the same way that I will. And it just takes one of my, I've had many, and again, this sounds probably kind of, I don't know. But, I've had, you're up at 4 a.m, can't get back to sleep. Something pops in your head. And it's like, that made the difference between a property selling, because I just sat there and thought on it. And it was like, what about this? And that's not every listing. There's a lot that are, going to be fairly straightforward or something, but it's definitely happened in, numerous instances where it was like, I was able to kind of find the missing ingredient because, I was, passionate about meeting their goal. And in meeting their goal, I meet our goal, my goal.
When you look at someone starting in the game today, and it is a game, even though we're here to serve people, there's so many moving parts to this business. It's someone who does well. It's like they have a PhD, MBA in the game of real estate, because there's so many moving parts to get a deal together. Never mind getting the deal together, just getting the prospect and leads and communication and lawyers, and it's an interesting game. Would you advise someone join a team or start on their own today in this market, in this environment, 2020?
I think you have to read weigh out your options. I think the problem with a lot of the teams now is that they're very low value based, meaning that they're not bringing you a ton of value. They are coming in for you to cultivate for them. We're the opposite. It was like, it's always been, I have more people that we'd like to work with and cannot because of timing. So, here you go type of a thing. And so that's been the base. Now, granted, we want people to go out and do these other things, but I know a lot of these teams, I've sat in conferences and there was a 93-person team, that some representative was on the stage, but they had I think theirs was a cold calling system, and they made their people take a 15-minute break after 2 hours of cold calling. And it was like, what a machine, what a neat machine for them. Not my way. And in those cases, like, no way. You want to go be a real estate agent and then you're going to go do that? Nah, and the turnover has to be pretty incredible in that. But I think that when you find, so I would look hard, and say, so where are my leads, going to come from? Because joining a team is all about like, it's what you've driven towards a lot here. Like, well, tell us, how many of the people you do these podcasts with are like, well, I'm this, it's the CRM with this, or I'm the, I do the cold calling systems, or the cold calling is probably the newest, wildest, craziest thing I've seen in real estate in my years. Just the way that people are, what's the business generating model? Oh, we have inside sales. We have, people have 31 different names for it. And it all comes down to like, someone is picking up the phone and trying to make an appointment for you. And that's like, wow. Very gusto, and very, very, larger business model based. But anyway, so I think that back to the question, it's all relevant. You have to do your own diligence as an agent and look at that team and say, what am I bringing to it? And if it's a 15, 20 person team, I don't think you can really think that, that they're going to be providing you with that many leads. They're going to show you the real estate business, and they're going to help you understand how to create new leads. And so if that's what you're learning, again, both of you then should be under the same mindset. They're like, well, I'm only going to be here for probably 1, maybe 2 years, because obviously once I realize that I'm making the business and you're getting a half or a quarter or 75% of it, whatever that model is, that I'm going to just do this on my own and we're not going to do this, and then you're going to find someone else. So I think the long-term person that says, I want to be on a team, and I want to do this because I like working with other people. I like, the camaraderie. I like those things. You got to be really careful on that point to say like, okay, how are these leads coming from? You're not going to be joining a team of 15. You're not going to do any of that stuff. You're going to be joining a team of like, I'm one person's, a good successful agent that needs some admin help and that needs a buyer's agent or, that type of thing. That to me is kind of that more long-term model of staying together. I think that for someone that just says, just show me how these, how the widget's made, and then I'm going to go make my own widgets. It's also a good opportunity there as well. So either way, it can present the right opportunity for someone. I would just be picky and understand, filter in your own mind the idea of what am I here to do. You don't want to sign up for a career with somebody and realize like I'm one of 19. That's just not the case. You are, but you're going to learn, how to make cheese, at that cheese factory, and then you can go do it on your own potentially. But you have to know that's what you want. So I think that the teams are, but again, what did I describe? Sitting open houses, these kinds of things. I mean, these are the same opportunities that right now are way more readily available than I was. Like we used to, could we go sit for nothing, be paid nothing, but just try to pick up buyer leads at a new construction open house? Like that was, now there are leads, or there are opportunities like that much more readily available as well, because I think a lot of the people that would have been clamoring for those are joining teams and aren't doing those things. So I think you pick your vein.
Yeah, you pick whatever lane you pick, you better go all in on it emotionally.
Right.
Is there something that you do on a daily basis that keeps your mindset in a good place?
I deep breathe a lot. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. I think some exercise is always a great perspective changer. And I mean, but those are outward business things. As far as mindset, I mean, to me, I guess here's something, I've said this pretty much my whole career. Like I'm here to work and to get it done. I am not here to, and I have friends at the office. We chit chat and things like that. But in general, I'm not here to pass time. I will be home with my family. I've got 3 little kids. I've got a wonderful life. I love to see them. I tell people I'm not a workaholic because I know I'd rather be there than here. But I'm a workaholic because if you were to say that, or, I work really hard because I'm also not willing to let people down. When you've trusted me with the sale of the biggest thing in your life, I'm not going to let you down. And if that means work until, 10 o'clock at night, returning calls and that sort of thing, then that's what I'll do. So it's a little bit more, I think that's my focus. Like when I'm here to do it. My boss, probably one of the most things that stood out, that he told people, and I'd hear him say it, and he'd say it to me, is just show up. Like, what? Just show up. He'd just say it and say it and say it. And it's like, over the years, how many agents have I seen come and go? And what's the common theme? Those agents didn't just show up. Now, there's some that have succeeded without showing up, and there's some that have failed with showing up, but the percentages go up incredibly by taking that, I haven't even counted the words, just show up. So that 3 words of advice.
Right. And I think, and if you don't mind me just expanding on just show up, you got to do the work.
Yeah.
Show up means to do the work, right?
Yeah.
Execute on whatever you're going to do or think about, which is communicating with people about buying or selling a piece of property. That is your job.
Yeah. And I think you have that like, that's a perfect theme, because I think for you, like you could start a brokerage, Rich, and that's your theme, and for you, that. And so like, it starts with just show up, and then it's like, well, just show up. And then what do I do? Like, I'm a little bit worried about you. If you're saying just show up and what do I do? Like, you're going to try to find things to do. Like you're going to go and, read up or take the class or go to the broker's education, but it's okay. So if you don't know what to do, now here's your next step. But then that theme, like, you should own a brokerage, Rich, and just have like on every wall, like your job is to communicate with people about buying or selling real estate. Well, how? I can tell you 1,000 ways, and they changed in the last 17 years. But communicating with people about buying, like that's essence. I'm going to write that down, Rich, because you just gave me a nice treasure.
I don't have the courage to open up a brokerage. I think those people are insane. But, when I look out and I hear you and I hear these top producers who are doing extraordinarily well, the common theme is that they have a direction of where they're going. They know what they want to hit. You have to input a number into that GPS in your brain. So your brain is going to start focusing on how to create the outcome. right? And until you do that, you can't get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to talk to people about buying stuff. That's all we do. We don't really talk about granite. We don't talk about bricks. We got to talk to people about buying or selling a piece of property, and how does that fit within their life, and what do they want because of that. And you know, when I hear you're a smart guy, you're very cerebral, and if I boiled you down, you want to help people. You're very grateful for the opportunity, because you know those people pay your bills. They pay for your life. They pay for your little Johnny, Susie, and Kelly to eat every single night, right? And that's a really important distinction. Because you know what? There are a lot of people who don't think that way. They think about, you know, that they're owed something.
Yes.
They're owed something. Well, you should work with me because, you know, I'm owed that commission. Well, the truth is we owe them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's thousands of other people they could be working with today. And I appreciate you very, very, very much. You're an anomaly. And any of the top producers that I speak with, they're an anomaly. And that's why I want to speak with you, because it takes a lot of courage to get out into this game, commission-based, dealing and competing against thousands of other people on a daily basis to serve people, and then to wait to get paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do the work and get paid. You hope you're going to get paid when it closes.
Yeah.
And so you're one of the bravest people that I've met, and anyone in the real estate business is very, very brave. So I appreciate you very much. And if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, Joel, to work with you or even ask you questions, maybe some advice, how would they do that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a website. I do have that, joelelgee.com. So my email is just, which is my last name is spelled Elgee. So it's JOELELGEE.com. And then my email is joel@joelelgee.com. My cell phone, I tell people, call me. I'm, 509-868-5264. We straddle the states of Idaho and Washington. I'm right on eastern Washington, North Idaho. We live in a beautiful area, beautiful lakes and mountains. We're kind of without, the inability, there's not a huge, city that you have to wade through first to get out to the recreation. So, I got to wake up this morning at the lake, take a swim, and then come from the cabin right into work. So it was a pretty amazing day. I
looked up the area that you live in, and it's gorgeous. So
yes,
very jealous. Thank you very much for taking some time with us. I really appreciate you. And I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity and the time that you spent with us today.
Well, thanks, Rich. You've been great, and thanks for your patience on making this happen. And I think you're certainly bringing value to people. So I appreciate you doing that.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you like what you've heard and you're interested in seeing if you are fit to work with Peak Results Academy, here's what I want you to do next. Head over to peakresultsacademy.com/call. That's peakresultsacademy.com/call and book an appointment to speak with our team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 45 minutes and get you crystal clear on 3 things. Number 1, what do you really want out of life and your business? Number 2, what is not working for you today? And number 3, the exact strategy you should be using to create massive change in these areas. Remember, changing your life and creating massive results does not happen by itself. You need expert guidance to make it happen. We're helping clients all over the world create peak results in their health, in their businesses, and in their personal lives. To see if we can help you do the same, head over to peakresultsacademy.com/call. We'll chat soon.